Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. One of the first moves Mike Elko made as he got to College Station was go out to Kansas State and grab offensive coordinator Collin Klein. And when the news came out, the boys were fired up. Massive fan of what Collin Klein has done at Kansas State the last couple of years, and even more of a fan of what Collin Klein can do with this Texas A&M offense that I think, quite frankly, has a better quarterback, significantly better quarterback in Connor Wigman. More talented running backs, but most importantly, more talented wide receivers. Collin Klein, I think one of the better offensive coordinators in the country, and taking over this Texas A&M offense with a lot of talent, I think is a very exciting proposition. Want to get into the film of what Collin Klein has done at Kansas State and what he plans to bring to Texas A&M. Really excited to get into this one. The boys have been watching a lot of Kansas State offense the last couple of days. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys and a massive shout out to the Texas A&M fans. This has been a program the fellas have had a ton of fun talking about, whether we're breaking down commitments in the portal, whether we're talking high school recruiting, doing position deep dives. It's been a blast. The amount of support the Texas A&M fans have shown has been extraordinary. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel and a program that we're going to be talking a lot about as spring practice kicks off. A lot of moving pieces, a lot of new faces. Dill, I'm going to give you the tee box here. Collin Klein coming to College Station. What excites you the most?
I think the one thing that stands out to me when you watch Collin Klein and how he runs his offense is how he truly does marry his rushing attack to his passing attack and uses that ground game to open up stuff in the pass game. And again, I think a lot of teams talk about doing that. Oh, we run play action to set up passing game. But in a lot of cases, like those good teams might just out-talent you at the end of the day. It's not about necessarily what they're doing. It's just, well, they have 5-star wide receivers, and that's what they do. Collin Klein, again, had a Kansas State team that didn't have the personnel that a team like Texas would have, really did a good job using the plays he ran in the past to set up the rushing game, or using the runs he'd call, whether it was jet sweeps, whether it was off-tackle runs, whether it was quarterback runs, to set up plays in the past. I think, again, the way he would sequence plays really worked. And that's what you kind of look at when, especially compared to Jimbo Fisher, which really felt like it struggled for the most part.
We talk about marrying the run and pass game. That's a buzzword you hear a lot of offensive coordinators say. Dill, we're Michigan fans. The Michigan offense runs the football about as well as anyone in the country. They run the ball certainly about as often as anybody in the country. They didn't do a very good job of it, right? We didn't see a lot of play action. We didn't see a lot of passing schemes that were married to what we did in the run game. You turn on the Kansas State film, Collin Klein does exactly that. The second thing that excites me the most about Collin Klein is he uses his person. He looks at his offense and his personnel and designs the offense around his personnel. And that is a stark opposite of what you saw the Jimbo Fisher offenses do. Jimbo Fisher had this offense, and he was going to run his offense regardless of his quarterbacks, regardless of his offensive lines, regardless of the talent that he had at wide receiver. And then Collin Klein is going to bring an offense that he's going to get into spring practice, look at the personnel that he has and say, we're going to structure an offense that fits what we have and what we do best with our personnel. And that's probably what excites me the most. Now, getting into the schemes in some of the film from Collin Klein, it starts with the run game, right? You look at Kansas State, a top 25 team averaging 4.9 yards per carry, over 200 yards rushing per game. That was 11th in the country. This Kansas State team wanted to run the football, and you're going to see that at Texas A&M. But what is special is they do it in a lot of different ways. Dill, you mentioned jet sweeps, running with the quarterback. This is probably my favorite concept that you talk about. When you talk about Collin Klein running this offense and getting this run game going, I think it starts with getting his running backs in space. And you're going to see probably my favorite concept from Collin Klein. That is a pin and pull where we're really going to try to get our running back to the second level with some space to operate. And I'll say this, I mean, Ruben Owens in this kind of run game is going to be really exciting. You fire up the film, basic pin and pull, right? We're going to pin down with our right tackle. We're going to pull our guard around. We're going to get our running back to the second level with some space to operate and go let the running back do the rest. And again, Ruben Owens with this much space to operate, that's going to the house. If Ruben Owens has the football in his hands, the amount of different ways that Collin Klein runs the football, whether it's jet sweep, whether it's getting his running backs off tackle in space, whether it's using the quarterback, I think that's how this Collin Klein offense really starts and stops.
And that's like the key to it. Again, they do so much to keep linebackers and safeties in conflict. And you kind of saw in that last play, that backside linebacker couldn't scream out there when he kind of started to see that motion or that guard pulling. You see a lot of teams, when you see the guard go, the linebackers go, and they flow hard and they get out there and they make plays or whatever. But again, the way Collin Klein will run his quarterback in that backside counter or run a jet sweep or run a screen to the backside, all those sort of things he'll run allows his players to, again, get that space that everyone wants. And everyone wants their guys in space on offense. That's the name of the game. But not everyone sequences plays the way Collin Klein does, uses his lateral motion or pre-snap motion, I should say, the way Collin Klein does, and we'll see in this next play.
Yeah, I mean,
makes it special.
Here we see pre-snap motion. This is, you're going to see in the rest of the plays we have, like you're going to see pre-snap motion. And what's special about the pre-snap motion is throughout the game, you'll see Kansas State give that off to Phillip Brooks. You'll see them throw him a swing pass. And so when these linebackers and safeties see Phillip Brooks coming around, they're respecting it, right? You freeze frame, you have a safety crashing down, you have a linebacker that is keyed in on Phillip Brooks, and we're just going to hand it off to Treshaun Ward and let him do the rest, right? This linebacker, Tyron Hopper, completely out of position. You got a ton of green grass for Treshaun Ward to work with, and you're getting another big run. I mean, Reuben Owens, guys like Amari Dan, like they're going to make it happen when they get this much space. But the second play I want to pull up here is what I think makes Kansas State so special is they do it with the passing game too, right? Pre-snap motion again. We're going to get these linebackers and safeties sucked into this pre-snap motion. Will Howard's even going to look them off, and then we're going to slip a screen right behind the flowing defense, and we're going to get another big play, getting Phillip Brooks in space, making people miss. That is what Collin Klein's offense is structured on. And you see, Dill, you said it best. Like you see a lot of pre-snap motion. These plays look awfully similar, but you have linebackers and safeties seeing so much eye candy. They get out of position, creating space for whoever's going to get the football to operate after the catch. That is, in my mind, what makes Collin Klein's offense so special at Kansas State. And that's what excites me most about seeing him at Texas A&M in 2024.
Yeah, and even the play they slipped that screen out, you kind of saw those tight ends go out to the middle of the field and rip up the seams because they'll hit that play a lot too. And you pretty much see they're not involved as blockers, but they take pretty much that whole play side secondary out of the picture because everybody knows they need to honor that. And Kansas State was so successful using Ben Sinnott in the seam that, again, when they throw those screens underneath, everybody kind of honors what they're going to do in terms of rip up the seam because that's a bread and butter play. And again, all of it married together really works well, really puts guys in good positions to make a lot of plays. And that's kind of what you're looking for at Texas A&M because you just didn't see enough of that. You didn't see guys like Evan Stewart have a ton of space. I mean, if Evan Stewart could just win his battle, good. That's what they kind of relied on. But you never really saw the offense give Evan Stewart a really good opportunity to do something really special. It was Evan Stewart have to do it himself or a guy like any of their offensive players.
You talk about another thing Collin Klein does phenomenally. He's a matchup predicated offensive coordinator. And I think that you talk about what Kansas State did so well. I mean, DJ Giddens, Ben Sinnott were second and third in targets on this Kansas State offense. You go back to 2022, Deuce Vaughn was third in the team with targets, and Ben Sinnott was number 2. They are a matchup predicated offense. And yeah, I think partially the conversation is they didn't have the wide receiver talent that Texas A&M is going to have. So they looked at their offense and said, all right, Ben Sinnott, our running backs, those are our playmakers. And you saw them get involved in the passing game as well. And again, you're going to see pre-snap motion. You're going to see safeties and linebackers sucked in. And what we're going to do is, hey, we got Ben Sinnott on a linebacker. We got DJ Giddens going out on a linebacker. This is barbecue chicken, right? You see Ben Sinnott just immediately create space on Tyron Hopper, win up the seam. You have two guys, DJ Giddens and Ben Sinnott, wide open. You could pick who you want to get the football to. We end up getting it to Sinnott on the sideline. Sinnott's going to win this matchup 10 times out of 10. No,
because he was even put in a great opportunity before. It wasn't even necessarily had to just win a one-on-one. I mean, Tyron Hopper on that play was already out of position before it even really started.
Sucked in by
because of how they were able to predicate using their run game to suck him in, and he'd have to honor it. It's not like he was making a bad play per se. I mean, he has to honor that run because they were running the ball well all year. And then that just puts Ben Sinnott in a great spot. And I don't even think Ben Sinnott's like quite the player that Donovan Green is in terms of talent-wise. So, again, you kind of look, everyone at A&M is just kind of a jump up higher in terms of what they are as level of play. You see how they recruit. you know what talent they have, and you just put them in better opportunities to like have advantages. And again,
you talk about two guys that I'm most excited for in this Collin Klein offense. It's Reuben Owens getting the ball in space, and it's a guy like Donovan Green. And Ben Sinnott was awesome, and I think Donovan Green can be exactly the Ben Sinnott in this offense where you're getting Donovan Green on linebackers, you're getting him on safeties, you're letting him exploit those matchups. But most importantly, you're getting players in space, using a lot of misdirection. You're giving a lot of eye candy. This is an offense that is I think just it's player centered. It's making it easy on the quarterback. That is something that Jimbo Fisher did not do in this Texas A&M offense. You have a more talented quarterback. You have more talented running backs and wide receivers. Collin Klein has got a full toolkit to work for. And one of the things that I'm most excited for that you didn't really see Kansas State do is work down the field vertically with wide receivers because they didn't have those wide receivers, right? Phillip Brooks was their number one wide receiver. He's a slot guy. He was the guy running most of those jet motions. You take a look at the wide receivers they have on this Texas A&M roster, guys like Noah Thomas, Jade Walker, they are going to be able to win vertically, make some plays down the field. That's what excites me the most. We're going to have a blast watching this spring game, breaking down what Coach Collin Klein is doing with this Texas A&M offense, but the boys are very optimistic about what this offense is going to be in 2024. We'll leave it at that, a program we're going to be talking a lot about over the next couple of weeks. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.